In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
What's going on YouTube? This is Hero Stormwolf, and welcome to another weekly Skyrim mods video. This time we're going to be taking a look at two mods today. One of them is going to be revisiting a mod I've already looked at, and another one's a brand new mod that I discovered. The brand new mod that I'm showing off today is called the Powers of the Dragoon, and of course, anyone who's played any of the Final Fantasies knows about the Dragoon job class, which basically gives the player unique abilities, sort of like a dragon, but not necessarily. It's a little bit more in depth than that, but for the sake of time I won't go into it. But here's the essential of what this mod does. This mod adds 3 lesser powers into the game based on either the direct powers of the Final Fantasy style Dragoons or the Mythos. The powers are automatically added to the player's spell arsenal once the mod is installed. The power drains a fixed percentage of the player's maximum magicka when cast, 50% for the Lancet and the Tempest Strike, and 75% for the high jump. Now, the high jump assaults the enemy with a disruptive shockwave before rising into the air, striking down with a devastating effect. The Lancet calls upon the power to drain the opponent's health and magicka reserved in combat. And the Tempest Strike channels the wind into a furious tempest to assault your enemy and sweep them across the field. We're going to start with the Tempest Strike. Allow me to summon a bandit here, just for this demonstration.
Coming here will be the last mistake you ever made.
So here's our bandit here, and remember, this is going to be called the Tempest Strike. What it does is creates a small shockwave around you, so if you're surrounded by enemies, you can usually push them back. It can kill in one hit depending on how far or how high you send them, so it is a little bit powerful. I suggest you up the difficulty of the game just slightly, or at least have another mod that increases the enemy health and AI. The next power that I'm going to be showing off is called the Lancet. And this is the one that calls upon the Lancet power to drain an opponent's health and magicka reserves in combat. So basically, you'll drag a percentage of their health and magic. Of course, I have to hit the strike first. That's one of the more difficult parts of this. Of course, each time you use one of these, if you're using God mode, it negates God mode. So just be aware of that. I need more magicka to cast here.
A bow? So weak.
I'm not even really using a bow, but okay. There you go. So any enemy that you strike will be affected by the draining health and magicka. And you'll go into a little animated sequence to where you drain basically their health and magic and put it into yourself. So it's good for a group of enemies. Or if there's someone really far away, or if there's a mage, you can strike them with it, refill your health and magic, and pretty much blow back anyone that's surrounding you. And the final one that I'm going to be showing off today is the high jump. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because this one has to target the enemy, like it has to target them directly for it to work properly. And what I mean by that is sometimes the high jump doesn't work properly, meaning that sometimes the animation won't go off or the power itself won't go off. Hopefully we won't have that problem here. So we'll see if we can get it to work properly here.
How unfortunate for you.
So
You had to be that time.
So pretty much that's the gist of it. You strike any enemy with the shockwave, they'll fall to the ground. And then boom, you'll jump into the air and you'll strike them. This also works for first person view if you want a better, closer look of it.
Well, look what the saber cat dragged in.
See if we can get a little bit more farther here. So there you go. That is the high jump. Now, sometimes when you initiate the high jump and after the animation ends, the enemies will blow back into the air and fly away. I'm not sure if there's a fix for that, but nonetheless, I actually like this a lot. I'm going to definitely keep this in my arsenal. Again, most of these probably do kill in one hit, give or take. So I would recommend you increase the difficulty of the game, just so you don't one-shot every enemy that you use with this spell. The next mod that I'm going to be going over again is the Uchiha Clan mod. Now, I went over this probably a little under a month ago, but the mod has changed since then. Since then. I will go over some of the probably major changes to the mod. I won't go over everything again, but here's the more significant changes. Now, of course, you still have the Sharingan Awakening and something new called the Refresh the Sharingan, which I'll explain in a minute. So once you pick the Uchiha Clan race, here, I'll show it here. So as you can see, it adds the Uchiha Clan race. It'll give you a brief description of who the Uchiha are and what their stats are in the game, which is one-handed, two-handed, destruction, blah blah blah. Now, once you're done picking that, pick your name. You'll be given two powers called the Sharingan Awakening and the Refresh the Sharingan. Of course, once you activate the Sharingan Awakening, you'll be given a path to choose. Now, last time I showed this mod, there was only Sasuke, Itachi, and Madara. The author has now added the Toby path and the, I'm going to pronounce this wrong and I do apologize, the Shisui path, and I apologize, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Also, before you pick one of the actual paths that you can take, it will give you a brief description of what you'll learn if you take this path. This didn't happen last time, and that's actually really good, so you have a little bit more control over what you want to be, or which Uchiha you want to be. So with Sasuke's abilities, you get the Tsukiyomi for 15 seconds, the Amaterasu, Sasuke Susanoo, the possibility to gain the Rinnegan, which is something new. And Sasuke Susanoo characteristics are he gets a 250 armor bonus, he gets the Susanoo bow, which does 35 damage. The Susanoo's arrows increase speed, less gravity on them, and 25 damage. The abilities on it is 15% chance of paralyzing the target for a few seconds, and arrows stagger all. So if you want to go that path, you have Itachi's path, which gives the Tsukiyomi for 30 seconds and damages health on the target. The Amaterasu, and Itachi Susanoo. Now his Susanoo is a little bit different. He still gets the 250 plus armor rating, but he has a one-handed sword that does 35 damage, deals 15 extra damage that ignores armor, banishes creatures up to 99%, and souls trap them for 10 seconds, and turns undead up to the level 99 for 30 seconds. So it's pretty much mimicking his sword, which pretty much I can't remember the exact name of the sword that he had with the Susanoo, but it's pretty much this sealing sword. So trying to mimic in the effects of that. He also gets the Susanoo shield, which gives a 50 plus armor rating. Unfortunately, I can't see the rest of this, but it pretty much gives him more defense, and I think it negates stagger or something like that. You can actually read these in the download description itself. Madara, he also gets the Tsukiyomi for 15-second paralyze. You get Madara Susanoo, and you get the possibility to obtain the Rinnegan. Madara Susanoo gets the 250% armor rating. He gets dual wielding katanas, which does 40 damage each. The dual wielding katanas attacks are 35% faster than your regular dual wielding weapons, and dual attack powers do 50% bonus damage while Susanoo is active. So you'll get a faster attack speed and more damage when you dual wield basically the Susanoo katanas. Toby's. Now here is a more interesting one. You get something called Toby's abilities, and what this is it becomes ethereal. You get the Kamui's Dimension Chest, the teleport to Kamui, the teleport target, the teleport to any specific location on the menu, teleport to anywhere on the map, teleport to a target location, which is an aim spell, teleport behind the target, and possibility to obtain the Rinnegan. So basically with Toby, you'll pretty much be able to go anywhere you want and possibly not get hit for a certain amount of time. And of course you have, again, I'm going to say this wrong, Sishui, I believe that's the name. For him, you'll get the Tsukiyomi for 45 seconds. You'll get something called the, going to pronounce this wrong, Koto Amatsukami? Koto Amatasukami, I think. Pretty much what this is, I think it's called the Dragoon methods. And what this does is, no, not the Dragoon methods, ignore that. Anyway, what this does, it calms the target down at level 1 and makes him your teammate. At level 2, it makes the target your follower. And at level 3, it makes the target kill himself. That's actually pretty interesting. So, you pick a path. I'm going to pick the Toby path. So now it says at the top left, you have chosen Toby's path. Once you have chosen a path, you use the Sharingan Awakening, and it tells you how many people you need to kill. Now, if you no longer want to use the Toby's path, the interesting part about that is you can refresh the Sharingan, which is new. Now, if you use refresh the Sharingan, you'll see at the top it says cast the Sharingan Awakening, and basically you can repick your path. So I'll use the Sharingan Awakening again. It's like, oh, okay, well, I didn't like Toby's path, or I didn't like his powers. Let me choose blah blah blah. I can select him. Now you go on Sishui's path. Use Sharingan Awakening, and you got to kill a minimum of 20 people, etc., etc. The more you kill, basically you'll get the Sharingan more and more and more, like I showed in the last mod before. So this is a really updated version of the Uchiha Clan, and I'm actually glad that the guys told me that it was updated, because I didn't know it was updated, so I appreciate that. But definitely check it out. Make sure you read through it, because there are other downloads that you need in order for this to work properly. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know the Uchiha Clan update wasn't as extensive as it should be, but I feel with this is something you have to play with more than me just showing it off to you, because if I show it off to you, you kind of ruin the experience and the fun of it. So definitely check it out, download it. It's something new that you can play with Skyrim, which I know a lot of people probably beaten by now and want to experience new things. So try this out, give this a whirl. This has been the end of this week's Skyrim Mods video. I will catch you guys next week. Peace. I actually forgot something else, and I'm glad I actually remembered it. Now, if you have the Skyrim mod configuration, the Uchiha Clan mod can be edited to work in your favor. Now, this takes some playing around to get used to, but one of the main things that I want to show off is you can have these Sharingan Eye Textures, which makes your character always have the Sharingan eyes. Night vision disabled during the day, which means so if you use Sharingan, you don't have to use the night vision. It disables it during the daytime. The slow time levels. Now, this is how slow you want the Sharingan to actually work. Now, if you want it to be anime level, which is 50% level 1, 25% level 2, 35% level 3, up until normal, which is 65% slow, 75% on second level, and 85% on the third level. So, as you can see here, I had some bandits qualify to help me out here. So, Sharingan Stage 1, as you see it here. Pretty much slows time for 10 minutes and can be activated and deactivated at will. Reduces maximum magic by 25%, while active and consumes 2 points of magic when out of magicka and health. So, activate it, as you can see, very slow. Now, the cool thing about it is, last time you activated the Sharingan, it had this weird effect to where you couldn't really see. Actually glad they fixed that. And as you can see, the texture on the eyes goes away and comes when you use the Sharingan mod. Now, that was for normal. That slow down, level it down to anime. Now, here's something interesting. The player will not be slowed down while time is slowed by the Sharingan. After speed time changes, the player must stop walking for a speed boost to disappear. Skyrim's mechanics, I'm afraid. So, that's active. So, let's see if I can get this to work properly. So it's active. But our friend still seem to be slowed down. Let me see if I can read this properly again. Because you can negate the slowdown of yourself from the Sharingan. And that's actually really, really cool if that's possible. It says the player will not be slowed down by the Sharingan. After the time speed changes, the player must stop walking for a speed boost to disappear. Skyrim mechanics, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, I don't seem to be able to get this to work properly. Or at least that part. I'm no longer moving. But I'm still under the effects of the Sharingan, unfortunately. Just ignore that. Sorry about that. But, yeah, I just wanted to give that explanation of it too. The added addition of being used with the mod manager and how you can adjust it accordingly. So, now I can end this video. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.